episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 8, Episode 12.
Or Episode 178 if you're counting.
And thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors at patreon.com/MarsGirl who make this and all kinds of other stuff we do possible. Thank you for being here tonight, everybody. So good to have you back for yet another episode. What's going on, Josh? Tell me things that are happening.
Look at my shirt.
Yeah, it's a nice shirt.
It's a nice shirt.
It's a nice Overwatch shirt.
It's something we'll cover in the follow-ups here, but it's been 1 year since I started playing Overwatch.
That's because it's been 1 year since Overwatch.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm very happy that I've been playing this game for that long. Admittedly, thanks to, I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, our friend Deuce,
Mike,
who some of you might have known as the King of Space, was kind enough to fix my computer, so now you and I can play together, which we've been doing this week.
Mm-hmm.
We got to try the new, I can't even remember the name of the mode off the top of my head, but where everything's boosted up, you've got more health, your ultimate comes back in
crazy ultimate mode, whatever that's called. Yeah,
and we're there
that's insane. It's
but
very
I love it.
fun, but
I love
it's
it so
insane.
much.
Yeah.
Because we're there in overtime for like 3 minutes straight.
Right.
And I'm just there, just die all over the place, and you're just there like I don't know what Zarya says when she does hers.
Gungustine.
Gungustine is what
Gungustine. I don't know. I don't Russian.
You don't Russian.
That's. I don't even think she has an English line. No, she does. She has an English line for it that only your personal team ever hears.
Yeah. It's just I so rarely play with a Zarya that I can't remember what it is in English. It's always on the opposing team.
Yeah. I understand. That's fair. That's totally fair.
You're saying at some point we might stream that.
Yes, we should. We should definitely stream. I think that would be fun. And considering they're about to do this Overwatch minor league thing.
Yes.
Which, you know, this isn't a news story or anything, but we do need to make the Thunder Dolphins.
So you've been pushing this idea of the Thunder Dolphins, the Black Rim Thunder Dolphins, real hard.
Nobody said Black Rim Thunder Dolphins.
Oh, just Thunder Dolphins.
Yeah, we had this discussion in the chat in our Q&A segment a week or two ago.
I think it might have been 2 weeks ago.
Might have been like 2 weeks ago, and everybody liked the idea of the Thunder Dolphins. Everybody really, really liked the idea of the Thunder Dolphins. So.
But that wasn't the only thing we did this week. Admittedly, there have been a lot of really sad stories, and we're going to do our best to liven the mood tonight. We saw the sending off of a dear friend to all of us for many years that we knew him. I'm talking, of course, about Samurai Jack.
Yes.
The final episode this past weekend, with the whole season being run as a marathon. That's going to be this weekend on Toonami. So if you didn't get a chance to catch it all, make some time this weekend. You'll be able to watch all 10 episodes.
Yeah, this is the time to do it.
It was amazing to watch that.
That's an emotional ride.
Yes.
Very emotional ride.
Because we were there wanting to see. We won't spoil too much. We were just there with a friend, Chris, who was there in the movie as well. And we were all there just yelling at the screen in unison for everything that was going on in the episode. Seeing all of these cameos, all these people that you knew growing up watching Samurai Jack.
Right, exactly.
And then it all finally comes together for something you've been waiting like 10 years for, if not... No, about 10 years.
About 10 years. About 10 years is
that's about right. So, yeah, that was absolutely worth it. It was pirated very quickly, and I don't blame them.
Because everybody wants to see it.
But
you can see it on television again this Saturday.
Legally.
Tomorrow there's an opening of another Think Geek store here in town.
Yeah, we're coming up.
Yeah. Go San Antonio, I guess.
I get. No, everything that
it's
you
always
praise
an I guess.
It's always go San Antonio, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, go San Antonio, you try.
We're gonna try and show up and get one of those free koozies they're giving out.
See, I'm mad that in this day and age, people still think that a koozie is an acceptable gift to give people. Like, sunglasses, alright? They're $1 a pop. Just give those out with a little Think Geek logo on the side. I'm cool with that. I can use that. Who actually uses the koozies they're given at, like, free openings? That's like something you give away at the opening of a grocery store.
Well, you do it at a concert, maybe, where they're selling a whole bunch of Bud Light.
Yeah, but
you're
like...
gonna be standing at, like, an outdoor concert.
Okay,
an
yeah,
outdoor summer concert.
Yeah, but this is Think Geek. Like,
I know.
A koozie is not the first thing that comes to mind.
No, I'm not gonna use a koozie here at my desk.
No, it doesn't work.
That's not gonna happen.
Like, I've got my Arizona tea that I always drink every week. I'm not gonna put a koozie on this.
No.
I would feel cheap. it stays out. We're not covering it. It's not going to happen.
It would be too small of a koozie for such a tall can.
Yeah,
anyway.
most koozies only do, your regular 16-ounce can.
Yeah.
This is way more than 16 ounces, and I appreciate that. Good on Arizona.
We need to talk about something other than these koozies, alright?
Koozies aren't news.
We should probably talk about what the actual news stories are going to be for the week.
We got those.
Yeah, tell me about one of them, Josh.
Okay, so first off, tonight on the show, we're going to talk to you guys about the Resident Evil movies getting rebooted. Yes, I know, we just got done with the last set of 6 movies. Well, guess what? They want to give us another 6.
Oh boy!
So we'll be talking to you guys about the director on that, what direction they're going, what direction we'd like for them to go for those movies.
That would be interesting. So, the second story coming up a little bit later. This week, HASCON, as in the Hasbro convention, has just dropped ticket information, and I bet you didn't even know that HASCON was a thing, so we're going to talk about what HASCON is, just how expensive their tickets are, and whether or not it sounds like it's going to be worth it.
Right.
They're offering quite a lot of stuff.
But it's a lot of money.
Well, it's a lot of money for a lot of stuff, is what they're trying to tell you.
Yes.
Yes, tell me about the third thing.
And then our last story of the evening has to do with Universal Studios and their plan for this Dark Universe movie that they've announced, hot off the heels of their
Dark Universe movie universe.
Yeah, it's kind of a mouthful.
Yeah, because it's not just one movie.
No, it is one movie.
No, they announced a plan for a universe.
Well, no, it starts with one movie, The Mummy,
yes.
And then it will expand out. We're gonna start.
The Mummy is not called Dark Universe.
I know that's what I'm trying to say. It's the one movie that will bring together all of these other Universal monsters that they have the rights to, and we're going to ask the big question, why? Yes.
Yeah, that's
so that'll be our third story for the evening.
Yes, thank you. Before that, I'm sure you got plenty of follow-ups, though, right?
Yes, quite a bit of follow-ups. So, first and foremost, we're going to start off with full-blown Justice League.
Of course we are.
Now, normally we're here to rag on the show on this movie as news comes out about it. Unfortunately, we're not going to do that with the news that came out this week. So the important thing to take away is just the base amount of information that Zack Snyder will be stepping down from his directing duties, therefore Justice League, and Joss Whedon has been brought on to go ahead and finish up the movie. Reason for that being that, unfortunately, the Snyders suffered a tragedy just recently with their loss of their young daughter. So Snyder took it upon himself to say, you know what, I can't divide my time between these two things.
I can't keep this tab open that you have given me for the Dark Universe because of ads. Sorry, guys. Please keep going.
Wow, way to ruin the mood. Okay, and admittedly, yes, that's a perfectly understandable reason. He said he needed to spend time with his family. Joss is saying that there's nothing I'm going to do to change things. The course has already been set. We're just filming what's already on the docket, and we're going to carry through like that. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with the Snyder family in this very difficult time for them. And, for what it's worth, I do hope they get the product across that they're trying to in spite of the circumstances.
Yes, of course, absolutely. What else is going on today?
Well, part of the Justice League would embody the one female character we've been looking forward to, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, of course, getting ready to open in just a little bit. The promos are starting to ramp up. The premiere is actually happening right now in LA. The interesting story about that this week is that, of course, tickets are selling out in many different places for Wonder Woman, one, of course, being the Alamo Drafthouse. And the Alamo Drafthouse is offering a special that a lot of other theater chains aren't, which is to have a women's-only screening of Wonder Woman.
Which I think sounds pretty fun.
But some people, i.e. jerks, are complaining, well, where's the all-male screening of Wonder Woman? And the only thing I can say to that is, really?
Why would you want
really?
An all-male screening to Wonder Woman?
Yeah,
honestly? I can't imagine that, personally.
Let
women have their day for a second.
Yeah,
right?
we've had, and I say this as a guy, we've had literally everything else. It's more than fair to let the opportunity be there for women to watch Wonder Woman in a setting with all women. That's fine. Yeah, ladies' night. Yeah. It's fine. Go for it. Y'all be empowered.
I mean, consider the fact that Wonder Woman comes from a place that is people who are only women live on that island.
Yes.
So I think it just makes sense, quite honestly.
And some people are hoping that more Branches of the Draft House will do this as well as other chains, so here's hoping. All right, so moving on to some other news. This was coming out of the licensing expo that's going on right now. So DC Superhero Girls, which is a toy line that's out right now, will be going to full series over on Cartoon Network.
That's interesting.
Now, it's interesting because of the fact that the only thing that they have out are these few little bit of, like, 5-minute shorts that they have online, but now they're going to have a full series, which makes sense since they have a full toy line in stores right now.
Yes.
And you need cartoons to sell toys.
Of course.
Which is something Cartoon Network harps on very much.
Well, sometimes they make a cartoon, but they don't sell the toys.
I know,
so
right?
What's up with that?
And then they complain that the show didn't sell toys. I'm still mad about Symbionic Titan.
I know.
Point being, yes, this will be available out of Cartoon Network. Hopefully they won't can it like everything else.
Right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our Marvel news. Okay, so some big news out of Marvel, or Marvel dealings, shall we say. We'll start off with Marvel proper, I should say. So with Spider-Man Homecoming, we got a new trailer just a few days ago, both domestic and international, showing a little bit more of the movie, a little bit more of the context. It looks like the way they're starting to depict everything, as we've been starting to get the information about, is that based off what we're seeing from Adrian Toomes' character, the character played by Michael Keaton, he is going to be gathering up all of this debris from Avengers battles and Iron Man battles and Captain America battles, and that's what they're using to make all of this new tech, which potentially will lead to all of the supervillains that we know and love in the Marvel Universe coming into existence.
Yes.
So it's kind of the Avengers' fault.
It's sort of, yes,
sort of.
In its own bizarre way.
Along with that, we got our look at this poster here. We've got two different posters here. The first one is the domestic one that we have for the movie, which is, by a lot of opinions, kind of busy.
It is.
A lot of
little
people
busy.
there in the photo. You know, we've got Tony Stark on there twice, and like he's not already plastered over everything in the Marvel MCU. In the MCU at this point. And then we have an alternate poster out of Japan, which we'll go ahead and show you guys right now.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. It's mostly right, but it's wrong. This is just our hope and our reminder to Marvel.
Good old Leopardon, right?
Right there in the corner.
There.
Hashtag bring back Spider-Man.
I really want Japanese Spider-Man.
Y'all had him. Why'd you get rid of him? Bring him back.
Oh.
Just putting it out there to you. Okay, so the other big bit of news having to do with Spider-Man, but not quite, is the announcement from last Friday that Tom Hardy will be playing Venom in a spin-off movie that is not at all tied to this iteration of Spider-Man.
He
this
just
is, of course,
exists.
coming out of Sony, yes. So he's going to exist off on his own. No word yet on which Venom he's playing, whether it's the Flash Thompson version, the Matt Gargan version, or of course Eddie Brock. My money's on Eddie Brock since
I'm
he's
betting
the most well-known.
Eddie Brock, yeah.
Most people took this very positively. You know, it'll get the taste of Bane out of their mouths. But the last thing you want is, you know, you're sitting there in the movie and you're going to hear something ridiculous like, I'm going to kill you, Spider-Man, even though you're not in this movie.
You know, that Bane really grew on me. I mean, he's not
Really?
right. He's not
No, he's
right
not.
at all. But his existence is hilarious to me.
Yes,
That's why.
that is
That's
fun,
why he grew on me. Not because I think he's good.
because he's funny.
Yeah.
Which is why every time he spoke in the Lego Batman movie, you laughed.
Yes,
It
exactly.
you couldn't even hear what he was saying. You just laughed hearing his voice.
Yes.
So good on Doug Benson for that impression. So moving over to our sci-fi news here, some mainly not so good news. First off is our news on Alien Covenant. So that of course opened this past weekend to a, by comparison, disappointing 36 million. They were thinking that, now admittedly that's not bad, but for a movie like this, which they're hoping would have launched much bigger, about twice that, this isn't that great.
Yeah, I can understand
And the
that.
reviews are showing as much. We haven't had a chance to see it yet. I don't know that I will at this point.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I had no plans to in the first place, really.
Well,
I mean, I kind of was interested, but, you know...
and then that wore off.
Yeah, we're off.
Yes. Okay, so moving over to some Terminator news, we have word from Arnold Schwarzenegger that not only are they working on another Terminator, he will be in that one too.
We don't need more. We're done. It's been done
No,
for years.
y'all messed this up. You messed it up with the
Years.
last two movies. Salvation should have been good. It wasn't good. What the hell did y'all think you were doing with Genesis? Like, I always have to...
Genesis.
Genesis. No, we're not doing
Or was it
this.
Genesis? I can't remember
It's
which...
supposed to be Genesis, but they spelled it
No,
stupid.
I can't remember where the Y is. I can't remember which I is replaced with a Y.
It doesn't matter. They both lose.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so moving over to the bigger news that we've got here out of our sci-fi corner here. Of course, this week marks the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, and what would be more fitting than these new photos from Vanity Fair, one, of course, that we're going to show you guys right now, of Finn, Poe, the new character there, Rose, and, of course, Princess Leia. This is one of 4, or actually, between the two of them, these are 2 of the 4 covers that are going to be available. They're from Vanity Fair, the other one, of course, featuring Rey and Luke Skywalker, and the other one featuring all of the First Order characters. Of course, we're also getting a lot of information about where...
Thank you for the follow, Black Cape Ronin.
Yes.
Greatly appreciated.
Now we're getting a lot of information about what we're going to expect from the movie, especially with Finn, since he was kind of in a bad way. They're saying he's going to be in what they call a Bacta suit.
Oh.
Not a tank, a suit.
That's interesting.
So maybe they're trying to get him more mobile, but from the descriptions we're getting, everybody at the beginning of this movie is still reeling from the events of the end of the last movie. So people are still in recovery mode. And that will, of course, lead them on a path to this culmination of whatever they're doing here in the movie.
So it kind of sounds like the timeline of it is not too distant from the events of the last film. You know,
right.
the time in between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back was something like 2 years in between the two.
I thought it was
of them.
3.
Somewhere thereabouts, 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So this sounds like it is shorter than 2 years.
Yes.
Is what this sounds like.
Because of course Finn is still healing from his battle with Kylo Ren. Still very much looking forward to what we have here, and I imagine that Carrie Fisher cover is going to sell out very quickly.
Yes, very.
All right, so let's move over to some other news. Some big news out of Netflix. So we, of course, were talking to you guys before about the Castlevania series that Netflix is going to do. We got that little bit of a teaser this week, about a minute and a half, showing that this will, in fact, be animated.
So we didn't expect it to be animated.
No, we weren't sure. They didn't say one way or the other, whether it was live action or animated. It looks very animated in the way that they're going with it, but it looks very cool.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust a little bit.
Granted, it makes sense that it should look like anime. Castlevania is a Japanese series out of Konami, so clearly, for it to look like anime, I think totally makes sense. And we'll see. Like, that wasn't nearly enough clips.
No, not nearly enough.
It didn't nearly show me enough, but I'm very interested right now.
Now, stop me if I'm wrong. Were they getting ready to start playing Vampire Killer there, or were they just...
Nah.
That was just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. But yes, of course, the more information we get on this, the better. The interesting thing about it is that we're actually going to be getting it very quickly in July.
Yeah, it's very soon in the grand scheme of things.
So they pumped that out real quick, because we were just reporting on that, a little over a month ago that they announced it.
At the most, yeah.
So they must have had this in the works for some time for them to already have this out and then say, oh yeah, we're already going to give it to you. Just wait a month.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's very kind of you, Netflix.
We'll absolutely take it. All right, so moving on to some other news here. This is more for us than it is for anybody else. So last time we went over to Japan, we went to a place called Sega Joypolis, which has several different attractions based off anime and video games that are very popular at the time. So we can confirm, since the new season of Attack on Titan has started up both in Japan and over here, that they will be bringing back their Attack on Titan attractions there to Sega Joypolis.
Oh, good for them.
Yes. Now, admittedly, we were kind of on a budget last time we were there, but they had this kind of... They called it a 3D maneuver gear ride, but really what it is like a little... I guess a little whirly gig.
And it swings back and
ramp.
forth. Yeah.
And somehow you scored points on it. There was a point
I
system.
really don't understand how
No,
the
I don't get how
works.
it worked either, but it looked fun.
It did.
Because I like things that spin.
It did. I wish we could have ridden on. So that's probably going to be one of the things they bring back into Joypolis then?
More than likely.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to some other news here. Very happy to report here more news on the DuckTales reboot. We have confirmation here that, like they were saying before, Gizmo Duck is going to be in the series. And we have confirmation of his voice. He will be played by actor Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course, most well-known for Hamilton. He will be playing Gizmo Duck and his alter ego, which they've made a small change to. His alter ego's name is now Fenton Crackshell Cabrera, so he's got a little bit of Spanish origin to him. Which makes sense in keeping with Lin-Manuel as his actor there. He says he'd been holding on to this information for so long, wanting to tell people that he was going to play this role, but now they've gone ahead and let everybody know, yes, it's him.
That's awesome.
The producer's saying, we couldn't think of anybody better that you would want to hear yelling, blathering, blatherstrike. And the thing about it is... Blatherskite, right. And the thing about it is, I totally hear it.
Yes.
You know, having heard his voice in so many other different things, it's like, no, yeah, he'll totally nail it.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But this just goes to show you, this is probably, like, next to Voltron Legendary Defender, the most lit reboot of a thing I grew up with ever.
It is kind of exciting.
Yes, so very much looking forward to that when it airs over on Disney XD. Okay, moving on to some other news here. Of course, we were just talking about Overwatch. Right now, there is the 1-year anniversary event with 100 different new items. One of the interesting things about it that we were talking about earlier are some of the skins that are available. One of them being Genji's new skin, which they're calling Sentai. But the interesting thing about it is it looks very Kamen Rider inspired.
Right.
So some people asked about this over on Twitter, and they gave some clarification for it. When they were first designing the costume, it looked more Super Sentai in tone, but as it developed, it started taking on more Kamen Rider aspects. But by that time, the Sentai name was stuck. So some people who, like myself, were talking about the misnomer. There's your explanation.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was very polite.
Very helpful information there. Okay, so moving on to some, since we're talking a little bit about Tokusatsu, some other Tokusatsu news. Unfortunately, we have to report on by many accounts, the untimely passing of Dai Ranger actor Tatsuya Nomi, who passed away this weekend. He, of course, played Shishi Ranger there in Dai Ranger. The immediate cause of death was not readily able to be confirmed. Of course, by this point, several Sentai actors, his other fellow teammates there in Dai Ranger, have sent out their best well wishes and regards. It's sad to see, you know, someone's hero go before their time in a lot of ways, because he was only, what was it, 57?
I can't rightly recall personally. Not nearly.
No, 47. He was only 47.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take, but admittedly, you still have the memory of somebody who, at least for everybody there in Japan, they grew up with, idolizing, looking up to as a hero. Now over here in the States, we have that chance to look into that, since Shout Factory did make Dai Ranger available, which you can get right now over at their website or over on Amazon. I would definitely recommend checking that out.
Do look into it, yes.
Daigo, you will be missed. And the last bit of news we've got here is that little bits of video are coming out now for the compilation concert between Super Sentai and Kamen Rider that was done just recently over in Japan. A very fun time was had by all. Exite was performed there by Daiichi Miura, which is funny because he had the backing of Rider Chips, which is the hands-on, you know, they're the go-to guys for singing Kamen Rider themes.
You know, the word is excite. And so many people, because he pronounces it badly,
yeah, I know it. I know the word is excite.
The word's
I know the English word, but when I'm thinking of it in terms of the opening, I end up saying it like he does, because...
Well, no, you don't, because what he says is ekisite.
Yeah, I'm messing it up.
But he's messing it up differently.
Yes.
Yes.
But we're all messing up together.
Just say excite.
Excite. So yes, if you want, clips of that are available now. One of these days I'm going to make it out to that concert.
That would be nice. We should, yeah.
This was held at the BotCon Arena, which is one of the largest arenas there in Japan. Packed house, you know, people just there cheering along
with the glow sticks.
With the glow sticks
yeah.
that changed color. I really want to go.
Okay, we can go.
Usually it happens at the beginning of the year, but I never get the information fast enough. I always find out too late for me to do anything about it. So one of these days, I'm going to get in there. I'll have my glow stick.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it.
But yes, that's all of our follow-ups for the evening. Let's go ahead and get into our first story.
Okay, great.
With Resident Evil.
Of course, with Resident Evil. It's a picture of the logo, whatever. The film
Resident Evil.
No, Side Evie. Side Eve.
Side
5.
Yes.
Side 5. The Side 5 franchise
yes.
is now getting a 6-film reboot. And we just came off the heels of, like, just this January, we just finished Resident Evil, which, of course, don't forget, in Japan,
it's called Biohazard.
They take their name back and they call it Biohazard. How interesting is it that we live in a day and age where we can get up to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and then they can take it back and say Biohazard 7 Resident Evil. We live in that day and age.
The great circle of crap is complete.
Yes.
So, yes, hot off the heels of that, we're having talk now of a new franchise rebooting the IP basically all over. Now, the idea is that they, like you said, want to go another 6 films. Really, they didn't have to go 6 films the first time.
No, they sure did not.
Now, admittedly, it's worth noting that Paul W.S. Anderson did do fairly well overall with all of these different Resident Evil
Well,
movies.
he made money with them.
He made money with them. That's not to say that they did well critically. Of course, the biggest takeaway that people had from this first set of Resident Evil movies was how much they either did or didn't adhere to the video games.
Yeah,
the first one being the most stark contrast in the focus on the main character there, played by Mila Jovovich.
Furthermore, it just seemed to get kind of farther and farther away. The farther and farther they got into the film franchise, you'd start to introduce different elements that you're like, oh, that is a thing that they mention in the game franchise, right? Oh, Wesker's in there somewhere. Oh, that's cool.
Well, yeah, and like, admittedly, Wesker got off easy.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, because you're like, yeah, there's Jill, there's Leon, yeah, there's Claire that kind of looks like Claire. She looks less like Claire now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I guess those are the right names, and there are zombies. And those kind of look like the zombies I remember, so okay.
Yeah, and then it just becomes this action mess. And critically speaking, lots of people really do not like these movies. But then, they make money. You know, think of it very Fast and Furious-like, alright?
Yes, yes.
So, like, these are not masterpieces.
No,
We all
no.
know that. We all know that, but I don't think anybody who actually is sitting in the theaters watching this actually cares. I think all they want is just they want a girl who's kind of nice to look at, and they want lots of action, and they want guns, and they want zombies, and it doesn't really matter. The people sitting and watching this probably are not actual fans of the franchise, and that's not 100% true. That's admittedly a very blanket statement, but I think the people are there for the movies doing whatever the hell they want to do, not because they're accurate to Resident Evil core game mentality.
Now, going off what people are saying here in the chat, I do understand that there are arguments for why Fast and the Furious is as good as people say it is, but comparatively speaking, based off the criteria you just listed for why people go to see the Resident Evil movies, if you just replace zombies with vampires, you've got the Underworld franchise.
That's true.
It's interchangeable at that point. Only thing is, Underworld is something that was invented, you know, it's its own series unto itself, nothing to base it off, so they can do whatever they want, and there's no basis for comparison. Whereas here, we have all of these different games where, you know, you're sitting there putting in 40-plus hours, getting used to these situations, these characters, these monsters, and you want to see that reflected on the big screen. So as far as their commercial success goes, I don't think that they're the best gauge for the success of a video game adaptation. Really, I would almost call that the exception because of how much you could argue it's been lobotomized.
That is true. I think that it's a success financially, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good video game to film adaptation. Once again, I'll cite Warcraft as being probably one of the most accurate video game to film adaptations, but it doesn't do a great job as a movie. So we're still having this battle.
Right, because your argument there with Warcraft is that it was too faithful.
It was almost so faithful. You know, we got moments of, now we're hopping around to this town, and this city, and this location, all over the place, so that if you've played Warcraft, you're like, I know all of these places! Where it gives you this battle in this isometric view that looks like a turn-based, or not turn-based, a real-time strategy game, like what Warcraft always was up until Warcraft 3. And so it was trying so hard to be like, remember we were a video game? Remember just how video game we remember we are? And it did a perfectly fine job at doing that, but it was so busy trying to prove itself that it didn't do a good enough job being a movie. So where do we find that balance? Can this new Resident Evil franchise, with these brand new 6 films, possibly do that?
Well, because I imagine with a lot of people that's the hope, is that at a certain point, you'll see more of what you recognize if you're a fan of the games. You'll be able to see that reflected on the screen because, you know, going into the first one, yeah, they start out in a scary house, but then it doesn't stay there. And, you know, there's all the lasers and, you know, okay, yeah, there were mutant dogs. That was a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But you watch that movie and then you get to the end of it, and admittedly, for what it's worth, the first movie had a really kick-ass soundtrack.
Okay,
It did.
yeah, all right.
But that having been said, you get to the end of the first movie, and then you see that Alice gets back up into the outskirts of Raccoon City, and you see that, oh, something's gone down, and really the whole point of the Resident Evil franchise to me is that they tease you with what you hope you're going to see in the next one, but then you get to the next one, and you have that same feeling at the end of, I got here, I didn't get what I came for, but they're teasing me that I'm gonna get what I want in the next one. And all it is like 5 movies of teases, and then you get to the end, and then you never actually got paid off.
Exactly.
It's like a scavenger hunt that goes nowhere.
Exactly. So we're kind of debating, okay, who's this going to be directed by? We don't 100% know yet, but we do know that it's probably not going to be Paul W.S. Anderson, because right now he's busy working on Monster Hunter.
Yes.
And we discussed Monster Hunter a little while back, too.
Right.
And it looks like it's going off in its own
direction,
crazy direction that is not what Monster Hunter is.
Now, what we do know about this is that James Wan, who people know from Furious 7, from The Conjuring, will be producing this reboot. So as far as that goes, we're probably going to get the action, but I do appreciate that having some hand in horror, that can come over more. Because if there's one thing I can say about any of these Resident Evil movies, I was never scared. Not once.
Jump scares!
Yeah, but jump scares aren't real scares.
No, they're not.
Jump
I'm
scares,
not scared of jump scares.
Jump scares are cheap scares.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, that's not
You look crazy.
I probably do.
Yeah.
It's the hair.
It's...
But the thing of it
crazy
is,
eyes
like, I would like some more, yeah, I will actually agree, something that feels like the atmosphere of Train to Busan, where, you know, I really feel like these zombies are a threat. I actually care about the people in this movie. It would be even better if I know who those characters are, and I can relate to them while still being true to who those characters were in the source material, and then expanding upon that. Not going off in your own direction. We already did that for 6 movies. Let's expand. Let's actually make this feel like a world that's lived in that happens to have zombies.
Right.
And that I'm actually scared by and actually am entertained by and has set pieces. You can do it.
I'm just imagining that this can only be... everyone decided this was a smart move because of the money. So that includes Capcom. Capcom has been just doing nothing but making bank off of films, and now, again, we talked about it before, it's no wonder they're going after Monster Hunter.
Right.
Monster Hunter is so dang popular, especially in Japan, and then Capcom, I'm sure, is like, yes, put our name on something else. That, and I guess the Resident Evil franchise did pretty dang well in China. I guess Sony helped to push that in China.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So if it's, again, we've talked about this a number of times before, China is like the new place where you're really betting heavy in the
box office.
In the box office, yeah. So can we make another set of films that makes bank in China? I'm sure they're questioning that right now as they make this.
Yes, so at this point, we don't have a director attached, we don't have a star attached, we don't know where they're going with the story. We can only hope that it's a competent director, that the story at least captures the feel of the video games more, and that we get movies that both sides can enjoy without alienating one over the other.
Exactly, yes.
But that's basically the argument we make for most adaptations.
I would say so.
So we might just be screwed.
Still waiting for a good adaptation of anime, too.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that.
Yep,
we're getting closer.
Closer, not perfect yet.
Not perfect yet, but it's arguably closer than we were before.
Yes. I think that's all we can do for now. Alright. So we're going to move on to HASCON. Mostly looking at Optimus Prime right now.
Mostly looking at Optimus Prime.
And Mr. Moneybags over your shoulder. Right over there.
He wants to put me in jail.
He wants you to not pass go and not collect $200.
I would like to collect $200.
So what is HASCON? That is the Hasbro convention, which they're calling the Premier Hasbro Family Event.
Now,
Family.
I get it.
Family. Okay, I needed to make sure you understood. So
It's a typo.
It's a typo. Thank you.
Because N and M are right next to each other on the keyboard.
Yes, I understand. So, what is HASCON, other than being, obviously, the Hasbro convention?
The biggest thing I would take away from it from the start, like we mentioned there in the tweet, is it's actually replacing BotCon.
Yes.
And BotCon...
That had been going on since 1994.
Yeah.
I remember having lots of friends who were just such big Transformers fans, and they would go to BotCon, you know, to meet the creators, the voice actors, and they had such exclusive stuff there for attendees that would just sell for outrageous amounts of money later on down the road. You know, exclusive toys that you couldn't get anywhere else. I have to assume that HasCon is going to be basically exactly the same, but with more than just Transformers. We're looking at, oh my god, just so much stuff.
My Little Pony, Nerf, Magic the Gathering. I didn't even realize Play-Doh was still a thing.
Oh, well,
Maybe that's just me.
I guess that's because you're 31 years old.
Maybe.
Maybe. More Nerf. They're also including stuff from Disney.
Of
So
course.
Star Wars, The Avengers, Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. We've got Disney princess stuff. We got Moana and Frozen and friggin' Disney Descendants. Oh, yeah, that second movie is about to come out.
Yeah.
For some reason.
For some reason.
They've got stuff from DreamWorks. And they've got Trolls. And they've got Sesame Street. And they're going to have a bunch of costumed characters. And they're going to have a Nerf shootout arena thing.
That is appealing.
Yeah, which sounds pretty cool to me, actually. So this is taking place September 8th through 10th this year in Providence, Rhode Island, which is a little far for me.
Yeah.
But, so it was just announced...
So a little jealous of the East Coast people who get to go to that.
It was just announced this week what the price of admission is, and it's expensive. Alright, it's $60 a day.
For an adult badge.
For an adult badge. Or, if you want a 3-day badge, it's $165 for 3 days.
Yeah, but when you do the math on that, that's only a savings of $15.
Right?
Yeah, like...
You may as well just not show up on Sunday, honestly.
Which most people do anyway.
Yeah, but if you want VIP tickets, like, I need to go look into exactly what the VIP tickets include, because I admit that it's not...
Well, it has behind-the-scenes stuff and special perks.
Yeah, I don't know what they are
but
yet.
what is that?
So, but it costs $600.
Oh, crap.
It's $600
That's...
for these dang tickets.
That's, like, out of... country flights for us.
It's pretty ridiculous. But look, you're getting Stan Lee, Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, Andrea Liebman. The guys from That's
Dude.
right, Dude Perfect. They're from the YouTube Trick Shot.
Now, admittedly,
channel,
they have they're combining with Nerf for their fall line for a couple of things that they're going to be releasing. Some of that we saw at Toy Fair recently. Which actually, the bow that they have coming out, the Dude Perfect bow, actually looks really good.
Look, Josh, they've got internet personality Chewbacca Mom.
You mean the lady who's in the car laughing with the Chewbacca mask?
Chewbacca mask, yeah. She's a guest. She's a guest at HasCon.
Wait, is this an actual convention or the Kick Spit Underground Rock Festival where we're just picking whoever to show up and be a guest?
I really don't know. But you got Magic the Gathering gameplay events and D&D gameplay events for some reason.
See, now I will give them credit here. I give credit where credit is due. Looking at that website, they technically already have a schedule.
It's a very rough schedule, yes.
That's better than most cons we attend, where the schedule pops up. Yeah, okay, fine, guidebook helps. But in a lot of cases, you know, convention schedules get rewritten on the fly.
Yeah, that's very true.
So having something to try and plan around, that helps a lot. Now, admittedly, yeah, for the pricing on this thing, going from what's more of a fan-run event like BotCon to this, I see Hasbro wanting to make bank. Obviously, why else would you do this?
And they're going to.
And they're going to.
They're going to.
But I wonder if this isn't going to alienate people. They think they're going to be bringing more people in, but those prices are real steep.
Yeah, they are. They're very steep. So the $160, that's already a bit rich for like $70 for a 3-day event is already kind of feeling expensive to me.
Yeah.
And then then I gotta go to Rhode Island, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Rhode Island is so inconvenient. Why would you put this in... I guess Hasbro's... They must be based out of Rhode Island, I guess. Or it's the group that did BotCon, because they're the ones that are doing HASCON now. Fun Publications. Fun Publications originally did BotCon.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. They made it together. They became that company. It was fan run.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've gone from fan run to corporate run.
So they were doing BotCon under a license from Hasbro. So at the time they were getting permission from Hasbro.
So kind of like Power Morphicon.
Yeah, is what it seems like. But now it looks like Hasbro's decided, you know what? Why don't we just just eat the whole thing? Why not?
Because we can afford to.
Yeah, and if they're still allowing Fun Publications to basically run it, I mean, they must have just plain been bought out, is what it seems like to me.
Well, it would be very easy at this point for Hasbro to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing about it is, yeah, because they say they're pushing this whole thing of, families can come to this event. Yeah, families with bank.
Yes.
So that doesn't really bode well for a lot of people who might have appreciated something a little more, something that felt a little more like home, like say BotCon. But here, like, I don't know.
Come to the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Like, oh my, okay, because now I'm remembering. Were you there at that one? I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was either Onicon or Anime Matsuri where they did nothing but play the Transformers trailer.
It was Anime Matsuri, its very first year in 2007, and it was nothing but the very first trailer for the very first Transformers film on loop for 72 hours. It was off. Oh, they're gonna handle it so much better.
Will they?
Anime Matsuri is so much crappier. Come on.
Yeah, but
Please.
I'm saying, like, if they're just throwing it in your face, because they're going to be advertising for their Transformers movies there as well.
Yes, I'm sure, yeah.
The thing about it is, if they're too heavy-handed with it, people will be like, that's too much, I don't want to deal with that. It has to have the right blend to it. Now, admittedly, yeah, most people would be skeptical of a lot of first-year cons, even if it's professionally run. You still have to prove yourself.
But it's kind of not a first-year con, because it was run by the dudes who ran BotCon, and it's basically the successor to BotCon.
Kind of. It's more like, kind of like what you were saying a second ago, and taking it a step further. The Borg assimilated, and now we're getting this.
Look, they're saying that you can't bring personal items to be signed by their famous guest people. You have to have bought something on the day of the event.
Okay,
that's
stupid.
I hate it when they do that.
That's friggin' stupid.
I hate that. They forced that on, take for example, one of the times that Nobuo Uematsu's band, the Earthbound Papas, came to Onicon.
That's right, I remember you telling me about that.
And they required that you had
to buy the CD.
Yeah, you had to buy the CD or one of their shirts that they were selling there, and they wouldn't autograph anything else.
Even if you brought and people brought their games with them.
But the good thing was, see, they were selling the CDs there, but I didn't buy the CD there. I had pre-ordered that disc like the day that it came out, so
you didn't have to pay con price.
Yeah, I didn't pay con prices for that disc, so I kind of snuck it in. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Stick it to the man.
Good job, me. Thanks. So yeah, HASCON is a thing. It is expensive. But I'm not gonna say that I'm not totally intrigued by the fact that it exists, because they've just got so many properties that they're going to feature, not just out of Hasbro, but out of friggin' Disney and
well, I'll have to agree with
DreamWorks.
some of the chat here. $600 is Disney money.
It is.
Like, you can go. We could have a.
Well, Disney partners with Hasbro to make their toys.
Well, yeah, so, but like that's like paying to go to the parks, kind of prices. Like. $600 gets you at least 3 days worth and food at a Disney park, and I think I'd much rather...
For a family of 4.
I don't know, because it's like $100 a ticket. Family of 4...
No, they get it discounted because you've done it for a family of 4. Because if you're just buying tickets individually, then you're the sucker. You have to have a family of 4 to take advantage of discount prices.
Right.
Also, season passes help with discounts.
But that's that, and this is this. But I'm saying you could much easier put that money towards Disney, actually going to Disney,
that's very true,
than going somewhere else and just seeing Disney toys.
But it's not just Disney. We just listed...
I know, I get that. I'm not sold on it.
I know you're not. Calm down. Are we done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
If you want to go get the money, rob a bank.
You're getting too upset. We have to move on to something else upsetting, like this Dark Universe.
Okay, so yeah, Dark Universe. So basically, the idea is, as we've been hearing for a while, but now we've got a lot more information as of this week, that Universal Studios is putting together basically their cinematic universe for all of their monster properties.
Because they totally needed to be in the same universe, right?
Yeah, this is the thing, guys. Like, understand, like, we didn't have a say in the matter. This is happening.
Yep.
So the idea is that the first movie in part of the series will be The Mummy, that's just getting ready to come out. Now, the idea behind it was they were actually trying to start this earlier on with Dracula Untold with Luke Evans, but that sucked.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part was that didn't play into their plans as well, so they're having to scrap their ideas that they had for including that Dracula in as part of this this universe, this dark universe. And basically start over from scratch here with The Mummy. Now, the idea is that they're going to bring all these different properties, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, all together into this, like, I hate saying monster cinematic universe, but that's...
They don't... Just because
like,
they are all monsters doesn't mean they all exist and know each other.
Just because you have the rights to them and you made those movies doesn't mean you have to combine it. Not everything is the Avengers. You know why the Avengers is the Avengers? Because they already existed together. You know why the Justice League works together? Because they already existed together. Nobody asked for this.
Now, if you want to sell it like we're having a great fan service-y crossover event, that would almost be more appealing. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, but the thing about it is...
Like, you have to pitch it to me differently for me to be excited about it,
because
you know?
this is the same almost DC approach where it looks like you're taking it too seriously.
Right, yeah.
And part of the charm of those original movies, like, granted, at the time they were scary, but in retrospect, it's like, you know what, that's a cool piece of classic memorabilia there. Like, I remember back when we were kids, Burger King ran this kids meal campaign where they had these actually really boss Universal Monsters figures in them.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
had just about all of them. You know, our parents had to help us go from Burger King to get them. Like, Dracula he would glow in the dark, and you push a little button, and then he'd pop out of his coffin like, bleh. I mean, he didn't make a noise, but
yeah.
you position him like that. But here, the idea is they've already casted some of the roles already, and we'll go ahead and go over that here. So Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men, from not Spectre. Was it Spectre? No, Skyfall. He will be playing Frankenstein's monster, and Johnny Depp will be playing the Invisible Man.
Great! They've already thought friggin' far ahead. Oh boy. And haven't they already casted somebody in The Mummy to kind of bridge
Yes, that would be Russell
universe?
Crowe's character of Dr. Henry Jekyll. Yes, that Dr. Jekyll with Mr. Hyde, which in the most recent trailers and TV spots, they're teasing, making sure you know, yeah, it's him. It's the same guy. You get it? Did you ever read a book? Like,
God, please no. Just
so,
no.
The idea of bringing all these characters together for this dark universe, we have to ask the big question, but why?
Why? Because, well, I can tell you why, and it's because they want a universe like the Avengers, and everybody's making their own universe, and so DC's got a universe that they're doing really badly. Maybe they think they can do better than DC. Who knows? Universal's like, we can make our own universe because we make lots of movies. Why don't we just shove it all together?
See, look what you did, DC. You gave other people confidence that they shouldn't have. No, the thing about it is, because they're their own monsters, on their own, you could probably see that as a thing like, oh, wow, that's really entertaining, or wow, that's really creepy. But the thing about it is, I remember a couple of years back, Joe Johnson, when he did the Wolfman. That was a really good Wolfman. And the thing about it is, I was cool just seeing a Wolfman movie. I didn't need to see, Wolfman will appear in Dark Universe. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah. Granted, yeah, crossovers have happened before, and they're cool. crossovers, and really, I'm not a huge fan of crossovers, but sometimes when a crossover happens, it makes kind of a little bit of sense, especially as far as Universal is concerned. Their monsters kind of sort of make sense if you're just having them off do their own thing, like
at Universal Studios during Halloween. That's as much crossover as we should have, and they've been doing that for years, and you kind of accept it that it's kitschy like that.
But they've done it in movies too.
Yeah, but at this point, like...
And yes, they're kitschy, but that's the thing. This dark universe, kind of like what you just said, they're taking it way too seriously. I'm concerned that they're really serious about this universe, and... because all I would really want for it to be is kitschy. I don't want to take it seriously. I don't want this to be the new young adult, like... thing that skyrockets and takes.
Yeah, because Javier Bardem, Johnny Depp, and Tom Cruise are so young adult.
No, the concept. You know, it sounds so Twilight to me. Like they're going to try, because the only way you can shove them all together is by making them super young, or.
But they're not.
I don't know what to tell you, because I just feel like the idea doesn't really.
Well, no, because like, I understand the appeal, so to speak, of a connected universe, but you have to realize, again, like I brought up those examples, that which is really no duh, those universes already existed. You know, Justice League working in DC, the Avengers working over in Marvel. That was a thing unto itself. The other thing about it is those characters being connected, you can bring them together for a purpose. You can bring all the characters in DC together to take down Brainiac or Darkseid. In the Avengers, you can have everybody coming together to take on Thanos. Like, that, there's a build to something.
That's true, that is true.
With monsters coming together, what's the point? Because when you just have two people you're supposed to be scared of come together, you get Jason versus Freddy.
Yes.
Or Freddy versus Jason, where there's no real point, because the humans don't matter in that. You're just there to watch them fight. But then it becomes ridiculous, because then you have to address what they're actually capable of and what they actually do.
That's true.
And realize that you don't have a story.
Yes.
You have a concept. That's the thing that I'm seeing here, except it's going to be on a much bigger scale.
But they have the money to throw around at the concept. That's why they can get away with it. They're not scared to fail. They're not scared to fail at all, because if they fail, they've still got more money and more movies to fall back on. I feel like, take for example, Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't give a crap about the new Pirates movie. It's gonna make money anyway, just because it's Pirates of the Caribbean, I promise you. Universal's not scared of it. They've got a theme park. What do they have to be afraid of? They've got multiple theme parks around the world. They're not scared of anything.
But no, that's my point. I'm not scared of anything they're putting out. If you want me to be entertained, part of the entertaining value is that you can be scared by these characters. And looking at this Mummy trailer, like, I forget it's about a mummy, because, you know...
It's about Tom Cruise,
It's
Josh.
about Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise. This is Mission Impossible 8. They just didn't number it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's the movie where Ethan gets hunted down by a mummy, and then he goes off to make this next Mission Impossible. Like, it doesn't look any different.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at least with the Mummy movies back from the late 90s, you know, the Brendan Fraser ones, at least the first one, that felt like a good reboot.
Right.
Because it was entertaining. It kept to the theme, and people wanted to see that one. That one still does very well, both critically, and it did very well commercially, which is why it spawned 2 sucky sequels, and then all those Scorpion King offshoots.
That's true.
The Wolfman might not have been the best financially, but it did well critically, the one with Joe Johnson. Now, remember, they already tried launching this thing with Dracula Untold, and it didn't work.
No, it didn't. Well, they went in
still...
such a drastic direction
Exactly!
with it.
That's the thing. They already did a drastic change with Dracula Untold. It didn't work out for them. It already looks like they're doing a drastic change here with The Mummy. It doesn't look like it's gonna work. You guys already got advance notice on this.
Yes, yes.
Don't! Like, I know you guys have already... You think you're pretty committed to this? You don't have to do it. Let Johnny Depp show up at another Disney park. Let Javier Bardem work on a different movie. It's fine. We don't need it. That's basically... All I have to yell at it is, no. Because, yeah, they're saying, you know, we've got these 2 bits of casting already. We've got the Mummy here. And the fact that they're making a connected universe tells me they're not going to defeat her. They can't.
I guess not, no. Yeah, unless there's some other threat that can possibly come up that is also a mummy.
Yeah, see, that was the whole point of the other Mummy movie.
Yeah,
The third Mummy movie is we have to bring up a different mummy from China. That was the whole point of that one.
Yes, it was.
So the thing of it is that's exactly the point I'm getting at. What is this building towards? Because they're not the Avengers. They're not going to save the world. Most of them are there for revenge or personal gain. And it's not the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
where you make them do good
there's
things.
There's no purpose to it.
No, there's not.
There's just, hey, they all look aesthetically pleasing alongside one another.
And that's my whole point. Like, what are you gonna make them do? Because if you make them all fight each other, there's no point.
Right.
If you try to bring them together against some bigger evil, then you're trying to turn them into superheroes, which they're not.
Yeah.
They're monsters. Monsters are there to be defeated. Like, yeah, you can try and make the claim for, yeah, well, Hollywood likes cheering for the monsters. Look at Suicide Squad. No, look at Suicide Squad. It was only good in some aspects, not all.
Right.
And
it
even
needed
then,
help. It could have been done.
It could have been done.
But it needed a little more help.
Exactly. So unless you guys really have a good plan over there at Universal for what you think you're doing, which I don't think you do, this is going to bomb and you are going to lose a lot of money. Know this.
I don't know if the whole thing is gonna bomb.
It's possible. I'm not hearing any buzz for Mummy.
That's true. I'm not
I'm hearing no buzz. Like, I was in the break room at my job today. You know, we have the TV on there. People just watch it casually, and somebody just brought up, you know, because the Mummy trailer starts playing. Like they didn't say anything else about it. They just looked at it and went, eh. But then right after that, they show a commercial for Wonder Woman. Somebody starts talking about it, and other people get hype about it. Like, that's something that you're looking towards. This summer, people are looking towards Wonder Woman, they're looking towards Spider-Man. Nobody cares about the Mummy.
That's because the first Mummy movie was enough, really.
Yeah, the one from the 90s was enough. We were good. We're still good.
Yeah.
People still watch it on TBS and TNT anyway. Y'all should have learned.
I think we're done with this.
I'm done with it now. It hasn't even come out, and I'm already done with it.
Okay.
Get out of here.
I'm glad to hear that. Good, let's be done with this. And we're going to be done with the main portion of the show, too.
Yes.
So, thank you, as always, guys, for hanging out with us this past hour. If you're here with us live right now, I do hope that you will continue to stick around with us for the next half hour so that we can do our Q&A time with you. Ask us your questions. This is the only way you're going to be able to have this conversation with us, is if you stick around for the next half hour live. And if you're watching this on YouTube somewhere later on down the road, thank you for watching it. I do hope that you can come down to see us on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central, so that you can hang out with these folks here and do Q&A with us, which otherwise you will never get the opportunity to see.
Yes, and of course during the week you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We will see you guys again next week.
Thank you, everybody. But don't leave.
Don't actually leave.
Don't actually leave.
Yes.